Important information. I'm a Pisces. We're going to get a great look down the Skyscraper Canyon that runs along the river. You guys are actually taking a tour in one of my favorite times of day to take the tours. The sun is pretty much set behind the buildings right now. So let's go ahead and start talking architecture. So the first building I'd like to mention is actually to our left. Look past those yellow cranes. Set back there, you're going to see this thick, white column-shaped building with these black vertical lines, the Aon Center. Third tallest building here in the city at over 1,100 feet. Now the Aon Center opened up in the early 70s, designed by an architect named Edward Durrell Stone. Had a few different names over its lifetime: Amoco Building, Standard Oil Building. But it is most well known for the mistake they made when they built it. You see, originally it was clad in this white Italian marble. It came from the Carrara Quarry. If you've ever heard of Carrara marble, it's world famous. Michelangelo used to use it. Very nice, very fancy, and very much did not like Chicago weather. Specifically our freeze-thaw cycle. We dip below freezing, then we rapidly rise above it. That expands and contracts buildings and their materials. 15 years of that process, that Mediterranean marble had started to warp, and it was in danger of falling. So they went ahead and took it off, replaced it with the granite from North Carolina. Now take a look here to the left, you'll see this two-level roadway. Wacker Drive is going to be with us through most of the main branch and a lot of the south branch. Considered to be the world's first two-level roadway. Started building it in the 1920s, though it had been envisioned in Daniel Burnham's 1909 plan of Chicago. His idea was that the upper level would be for car and pedestrian traffic, the lower level through traffic, trash pickup, deliveries, kind of the less glamorous parts of urban life. Also, Lower Wacker Drive would become a great place to film movie car chases. Blues Brothers, Dark Knight, just to name a couple. Now keep looking to the left here. Set back there, you're going to see this building with these beautiful curved white balconies. That is Aqua, from 2009, designed by Jeannie Gay. In fact, at over 800 feet, that is the tallest building in the world, designed by a female-run architectural firm, the Gang Studios. And notice the way that those balconies bend in and out from each other, wrapping around the edges of the building. Not only does it look amazing, but it also gives you amazing views. If you lived in the condos or you stay in the hotel in that building, you get unique angles on the city just by the uniqueness of each balcony. Right now, if we look directly in front of us, allow me to introduce a building that really needs no introduction, because it's labeled the Trump International Hotel and Tower from 2009. This is the second tallest building here in the city at over 1,300 feet. The official height does include that spire up there. Now, this building has some very unique design features. First of all, notice the setbacks where it kind of gets thinner as it rises up. Well, that first setback is right in line with the main structure of the white building to the right, while the next two setbacks are in line with the next three buildings you see around the corner to the left. Also, has a silver color scheme, chosen as a transition between the white and black buildings on either side of it. The architect, Adrian Smith, he describes this as contextual design. And contextualism is a style of architecture. You build in context to what's around it. And one of those buildings that he was honoring there with the clock tower is the Wrigley Building. Now the Wrigley's technically two structures. You might notice the gap in the middle, connected by a couple of walkways. Completed between 1921 and 1924. Now the clock tower itself is modeled after the Giralda Cathedral in Seville, Spain. So we call this a Spanish Gothic revival style. You also have Beaux-Arts style to it. That's a French style. What you really need to know about those styles is that they're known for their detail. They have a lot of detail, decoration, ornamentation. Once we clear the bridge here, just look up at that white terracotta facade. You'll just see a lot of intricate design work. Wrigley Building, of Luckily, the new owners taking great care of it, rehabbing a lot of the interior, adding new retail to the lower levels, and they are keeping the Wrigley name for it. You know, iconic brands, iconic buildings, sometimes those things just naturally stay together. And the Wrigley building was iconic from the day it opened. In fact, it was the first high-rise tower to be built north of the river in the city. Original tall buildings in Chicago were in the Loop, which is to our south, our business district. 1920s, it started developing northward. Oh, one more thing to mention about the architect of the Trump Tower, Adrian Smith, Chicago architect, but known for buildings globally. His most famous design right now, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. It's the tallest building in the world. Under construction is another one of his designs, the Jeddah Tower in Saudi Arabia. When completed, should be the new tallest building in the world. Now here to the right, you got that black rectangular tower, the American Medical Association Plaza. Originally opened up in the early 70s as the IBM building. This is a very significant design because this is the final and tallest tower to be created by the architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Now Mies van der Rohe, he is considered to be the father of modern architecture. In fact, that's a style, modernism, or Miesian modernism sometimes they'll specify. And his most famous quote, "Less is more." He believed in stripping architecture down to, well, simplicity, and for him, that was usually just steel and glass, usually black, with a box-like shape to it. All about simplicity. Of course, there's no missing these two spiral towers here to the right, collectively known as Marina City, affectionately referred to as the Corncom Towers. Now, those were completed in 1964, designed by the architect Bertrand Goldberg. Now, Goldberg, he loved to use nature as his inspiration. And one of his famous quotes, "There are no right angles in nature." Hence, he tried very hard to keep them out of his buildings. And you get this circular, almost flower petal-like shape to the top of the towers. That's where the residences are. Below that, you got your parking garages. Below that, you got restaurants, the marina. Also part of this complex, there's an old office tower that's now a hotel. The House of Blues is in the old movie theater. Essentially, you can think of this as a city within a city. And that's what they were going for. Back in the 1960s, a lot of people had left Chicago for the suburbs. You know, they might work downtown, they didn't necessarily want to live downtown. Well, Goldberg was part of the movement to try to bring people back, and his method for that was to try to put all the amenities you could want in one convenient location. Oh, by the way, if you have an image of maybe a car flying out of the parking garage of Marina City into the river, that has happened before in a movie. Yeah, The Hunter with Steve McQueen, if you want to check it out. There's also an insurance commercial where they did that stunt. No, they've always had valet parking in those garages, so you don't have to figure out how to do it. Oh, one more thing to mention about the bridges, the bridge houses. Each bridge has anywhere from 1 to 4 bridge houses. Need at least one to have the controls for the bridge. Some of them very ornately designed, some of them much more simple. It's often a reflection of a style that might have been popular at the time the bridge was built, or sometimes rebuilt. So we clear the bridge, take a look here to the right, you got this red brick building with a clock tower, the Reed Murdoch Center. And as you're looking at it, you might notice it's uneven. See, the right side has 6 bays of windows, the left side only has 5. That is not how it originally was. See, when this opened as a warehouse back in the 19-teens, nice and even, 6 on either side. And then they were expanding LaSalle Street here ahead of us, and they actually cut off part of that building. To me, that is a perfect example of Chicago progress, especially early 20th century. Nothing got its way, not even your warehouses. Go ahead, let's drill off the site there. Now, obviously not a warehouse anymore. You got restaurants in there, you got office space. That's what we call adaptive reuse. Taking an old structure, updating it for more modern needs. See another great example of that here to our right, this red and gray brick building. Started out as a coffee warehouse in the 19-teens. Then in the 1980s, they gutted and remodeled the interior. Out of those glass office penthouses up top. In fact, that's where you'll find the DIRTT design firm. Stands for Doing It Right This Time. Now, they specialize in environmentally friendly interior designs. Now, as we come out the other side of the bridge, to our right, we are going to have a massive structure, the Merchandise Mart. When this opened in 1930, it was the largest building in the world. It has over 4 million square feet of space. It takes up 2 entire city blocks. At one point, had its own postal code. Now, it was designed to be a wholesale facility for Marshall Fields, the big retailer that used to be here. In fact, you might notice the heads on the pillars in front of the building. That is the Retail Hall of Fame, or as some describe it, the Pez Dispenser Hall of Fame. So you got Fields, Ward, Woolworth, among others. And in this building, you might notice the long, uninterrupted lines by the windows. That is very common in this, the Art Deco style. The idea is it emphasizes verticality and streamlines the building by kind of drawing your eyes skyward as you stand at the base. Now, the Merchandise Mart unfortunately opened right around the time the Great Depression was looming. Fields' wholesale business was unsuccessful, so they ended up selling the building in the 1940s to Joseph Kennedy. Yeah, that Kennedy family. They owned the Mart up until the 90s. Nowadays, a real estate firm owns it. Trade shows happen there, interior design showrooms. You got a food court, mall, and then just a ton of office space. But right now, folks, we are coming to Wolf Point. So this is where the 3 branches of the river come together. You got South Branch to our left, North Branch to our right. A lot is happening here right now. New buildings have gone up. We'll talk about that uniquely shaped one to our left in a little bit. But right in front of us, let's talk about this building with the curved top and bottom. This is the new River Point office tower. For 50 stories tall, they're still doing some work in parts of the interior. Has a 1.5 acre park in front of it, or public plaza. And you'll notice that plaza is elevated. You'll see the white walls in front of it. That's because train lines pass underneath it. So in those walls, you'll notice the fans are actually venting exhaust out. And they do say this is the first new office building to be built downtown in the city since the recession of 2008. We've had residential buildings going up, but now finally office buildings are starting to be constructed downtown again. One of those new residential buildings is here to our right, this blue glass tower. This is Wolf Point West. Just opened up last year. It's an apartment building. Eventually going to be joined by 2 other towers right next door to it, Wolf Point East and Wolf Point South. Also right now slated to be residential, possibly a hotel. In front of us, we got this raised railroad bridge. That's from 1908. Now back then, we had all these different factories and warehouses in this area, so they needed a freight line running across the river. And then by 2000, most of those had shut down. So the bridge was retired. It would become a landmark. It's always in that upright position, except for once a year. It is lowered, essentially so they can inspect it, and Union Pacific has to run something across it so that they can maintain their rights to it. Keep looking to our left, we have this kind of pinkish rectangular building. It's actually the oldest structure I'll point out on the tour today. Originally, first part of this was built in 1898. It was a large warehouse. Eventually it would become a cold storage warehouse. And then in the 1980s, they turned it into a residential building. That was not easy. First of all, they had to remove tons of horsehair insulation from the walls. And then they had to add all of these balconies and the majority of the windows into the walls. Just next door to it, you got these very unique gray townhomes. These are the River Cottages. Notice the porthole-shaped windows, triangular sail-shaped roofs. The architect, Harry Weiss, when he designed these in the 1980s, he was very much ahead of his time. Not only did he embrace these nautical themes in the design, but he embraced the river by facing the buildings towards it. That was not common, especially with residences back then. But now, folks, just to let you know, on the other side of the bridge here, I'm actually going to turn off my microphone for a couple minutes.